broadcasting to viewers in Liberia and across the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KMTV with me, Anthony Kokoi. Wherever you're watching us from, we say thanks for joining our news broadcast tonight. Let's take a look at stories making the headlines. Sea erosion leaves several homeless in Greenville, Sano County. House of Representatives summons Internal Affairs Minister Vani Salif over allegations of traditional leaders' continuous obstruction of security operations. And in sports, a grassroots vacation football training program for kids will this Saturday be launched in Liberia. These plus many more developments all coming up on today's edition of KMTV News Today. Keep watching. Many thanks for staying with us. We begin the program in Sano County, where residents of Greenville Commercial Community downtown are calling on the government of Liberia to help relocate them as the sea is gradually taking away their houses. According to the residents, they don't have a safe place to live at the moment as the sea continues to threaten their lives. KMTV Sano County correspondent Mike Gray reports.
For the past 6 years, sea erosion has taken away hundreds of houses in the downtown community and displaced thousands of residents, as government intervention is now needed to relocate community dwellers. How of you are around there?
It's only level with the government. Because what I've seen is there's no future for the bridge, the Sano Bridge.
The community dwellers blame the prevailing situation on the local government that has reportedly given permission to a sand mining company that is currently mining along the coastal belt. Community dwellers are forced to evacuate their homes as the sea continues to pose threat to their lives. Downtown is Greenville Commercial Community that hosts majority of businesses operated in Greenville. Half of the community has been washed away by the sea, as two major streets in the city, including Mississippi and Water Street, have been damaged. Mike Gray, KMTV News, Sino County.
Many thanks to our Sano County correspondent Mike Gray for that report. Let's now move over to Capitol Hill, where the House of Representatives has summoned Internal Affairs Minister Vani Salif over allegations of local traditional leaders' continuous obstruction of security operations to ascertain illegal mining activities taking place across the country. Majority members of the section today believe that such action is unlawful and counterproductive. KMTV legislative reporter at the lower house reports.
Testimony to whatever a public official says in section upon invitation by plenary, such person must take an oath. The House's decision to invite Internal Affairs Minister Vani Salif follows allegation of local and traditional leaders' continuous obstruction of security operations. This was how members of that august body debated the issue.
The joint security operation of our country does not necessarily involve the military. Because we know what they are. What reliance have you then to determine that the military should be directly involved with what you want to do?
The priority of District 2, especially the Bella area, have not been able to take place for the past 5 years. For the past 5 years. And Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, my concern, I will want to please have the minister furnish the House with all the listing of the paramount chiefs, legally paramount chiefs that are supposed to be taking place in Liberia under the government, and the general town chiefs, so that we know exactly who is going to be not taking pay or is taking pay.
How possible you think that can work? And how you think we can get the township? Because if you ask a question saying like the Ghanaians, the Nigerians, they don't just go into our water, they don't go into the forest, it's we ourselves who take them to the forest. So the idea is if we get the town chiefs involved, they will know as to how the guys go into the forest or how they go to make use of our waters. So what do you think that how could be your own advice or how you think we can address the issue?
After minutes of deliberation, the minister then took to the podium.
Issue of traditional chiefs' involvement in or aiding, if you like, illegal mining in the country. I'm aware of that. In one of the remotest part of River G, the name is not on top of my head, where you can't even go there with vehicle, you gotta walk several hours. While these security personnel were patrolling, I got a call from the Minister of Justice and the Commissioner of the Liberia Immigration Service that the officers were hindered by some traditional elders that they have gone in that area without their consent, and they were besieged, if you like, and that I should intervene. They feel visit that we're going to commission jointly with the NSA and all of those. The military will be part. In the military, we are contemplating on the military to be stationed in our Grand Nigeria forest for some time.
Minister Salif further spoke on allegations of some chiefs not being paid for more than 5 years in Bapulu County.
We need to double check on that. Maybe I can work with you on that. The chiefs in Bele that are not being taken pay for 5 years, this is a piece of my imagination for 5 years, and they're just working. Where we can work on it with you and myself. But when it comes to payroll, it is the town chief that at this general level we are talking about, I'm sure, I assume. These three categories of chiefs that I just spoke about, they are supposed to be on payroll, and they've been on payroll. What happened if, Mr. Speaker, you have a new creation, for example? Let me just go back there. If you have a new creation and the budgetary allocation is not made, then that chief may not get on payroll. We have a situation like that we had in Foya, in one carry and the other place or district, you know. So it was an understanding that probably they can start work and while I will process that, which is not good, because if you do that and the man can come and sue, say, I work, I didn't get paid, so I stop it.
From the grounds of the National Legislature, this is Ayusin Yiba reporting for KMTV News.
Many thanks to our legislative reporter assigned to the lower house, Ayusin Yiba, for that report. The heavy downpour of rain for the past days have left several residents of the Do community homeless. The residents, most of whom are living in zinc structures, are calling on the government of Liberia and humanitarian organizations to run to their rescue. As our reporter Anjali Noah reports, most of the residents were seen standing before their houses, a place that has now turned to a river.
Rainy season has become a nightmare for many Liberians, most especially the underprivileged across the country, as some family houses are buried with rain during this period, granting them no access to shelter. The living condition of citizens in the community during this period is very unfortunate and unbearable, as the houses, dominantly zinc structure, have been flooded due to the downpour of rain. Victims in every corner of the community are calling on the government of Liberia to quickly run to their rescue.
We would like for the government to help us because the water is disturbing our houses, entering in our room. We don't have place to sit or neither to sleep. Some of us, we are many in our house, so we would like if the government can assist us with some things that we need, so we will be grateful to him. Even those that are in the government can stretch hands towards us, go community, we are stranded and we are suffering from the water. Sometimes when the water in our room, nowhere there for us to sleep. So we are appealing to the government to assist us.
As I was saying, I think you are saying you look at the living condition, yes. People living in the water. Water enter in people's houses here. Because no drainage. Even the drainage we have here, we don't even have tools to clean the drainage. So the living condition here is hard. So we asking the government, we are appealing to the government to come and help us, to come to our aid.
This flooding disaster is not only unique to the Dole community, as other communities have experienced similar situation for the past weeks due to heavy downpour of rain. Angeline Noah, KMTV News, Monrovia.
As the National Health Workers Union of Liberia plans to abandon works due to government's failure to listen to their demands for salaries and other benefits, Health Minister Dr. Wilhelmina Jalla has appealed with members of the union to return to work. Dr. Jalla, who spoke in her capacity as a health worker Thursday at the MEGA press briefing, said there is a need for a dialogue for healthcare workers between healthcare workers and the government when it comes to solving health-related issues in the country.
First of all, I will not speak to you as a government official. I will speak to you as one of the healthcare workers. To say that, first let me start with telling each and every one of them thank you for all the work that they have been doing, especially during these corona times, by making sure that our people stay well. I also want to again make an appeal for people to go back to work. It's important that we save lives. It's important that we all work together. You cannot solve a problem by adding a problem. You can only solve problems by dialoguing with. Okay, we had an issue. You call at 12 midnight and say as of 12 midnight, we are going slow. We have patients on the ward. We have patients that have emergency. Is this the time to tell us where do you expect for us to get people to come and take that place? Where do you expect for us to call you to a negotiation table at 12 midnight? You put us in a very difficult position and we all put patients at risk. So this is what we did. We did not take students or people from the street and bring them to the facility. So in the meantime, what are we supposed to do? We have to keep asking volunteers to come and help us, because patients, we didn't discharge all the patients home because nobody was there. We have to use the people that we have to help us. So this is why we are appealing to all of the healthcare workers to go back to work so that we can take care of our patients while we wait for this dialogue.
Still, we have related issues. Some aggrieved individuals who serve as volunteers during the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic in Liberia on Wednesday staged a protest at the Duboro Health Center in Painesville. There has been a series of protests over the payment of volunteers since the decline in the number of new COVID-19 cases. KMTV's Emmanuel Tatumukori covered the protests and filed in this report.
The aggrieved COVID-19 volunteers who were recruited during the heat of the coronavirus pandemic staged a non-violence protest demanding for salaries and arrears. They were recruited to create mass awareness on the risk associated with the virus and how it can be prevented. Storming the Duboro Health Facility on early Wednesday, the COVID-19 volunteers pledged to remain at the facility until their arrears are settled by the Ministry of Health and partners.
They are going to pay $150. People are Momo joking and praying for all of us. So we are here today. We get all of the money today. Yeah, if we don't get the money today, we lack all of the area and put a massive pepper. Like I brought money in my pocket to go buy pepper. And we're putting all of the people, we lack the people all, and we lack the people all until we can get our money. That's why we are here today for.
Though others have received 1 month's salary, their action called for complete payments of the 3 months owed by the government. They voiced out how frustrating it was standing in the rain and sun to demand for what they had labored for over the last few months.
Since April to present, the work has been done, and now we can get our pay. They told us that they were going to pay us $150 per month, but they leave cutting our money down until we reach to $50, and that we accept. And now, yesterday we came here again for our money. We couldn't get the money. They only gave us $50. Balance $50. And they gave me our money like peanut money, and some are all living far off. We leave our houses, we pay $300 to go back. Then you come, they give you $50 at the end of the day, you can't get all our money.
They maintained that their latest action follows series of discussions with health authority but to no avail. According to them, the only viable option was to gather in numbers and besiege the health facility to claim the attention of national government and allow pressure groups.
The government hired our true health ministry to do corona work in the community. It was very difficult for us. Brother, you can imagine the economic status at the time. But we had to buy data, we had to buy credit to send report every day. Our supervisors were sitting in the dining room and living room sending report to government while we were on the feed sending it to them. You know how much they pay them? Some of them took more than $500. But we got to struggle to get $50. We got to demonstrate to get $50.
Under the Coalition for Democratic Change government, which run on the platform Change for Hope, promised to transform the lives of its citizens. But since assuming power, there has been a very hard wave of protest over bad labor practices and delay in salaries and benefits, coupled with other social issues. It is anyone's guess now to determine how this episode of the striking workers will end. Emmanuel Tato Macaulay, KMTV News, Painesville.
The Liberia National Fire Service has launched a volunteer program that allows citizens to register as volunteers and become first responders to fire incidents in their respective communities. According to the Director of the National Fire Service, Edith Dixon, the program will not employ beneficiaries as normal employees, but rather train them to respond to emergency crises in compliance with international fire service measures. Speaking at the mega press briefing today, Mr. Dixon also updated the public on the number of fire incidents reported across the country.
To get our place set up and see whether we can work with our partners to open a firehouse clinic to cater to firefighters and also the community. On the international community, every fire department runs volunteers. So we just started a volunteer program where you're having people coming to register as a volunteer, but they don't work like a normal employed person. You give in your time. So when things get tough, volunteers will come and back and help you. By the special grace of God, we are expecting a delegation from the United States in December in Liberia for some training and continued negotiation. From January this year, from the Liberia National Fire Service, we have received over hundreds of calls. And with the total fire outbreak up to August, 87 fire cases. The 75% of our fire outbreak cases is from electrical shock, which is Class C fire. And we say properties, millions of Nigerian dollars worth of properties destroyed. For casualty, we have 7 persons sustained injury during that period from January to August, and 15 deaths.
Let's now move back to Capitol Hill, where the Liberia Broadcasting System is appealing to the 54th Legislature for US $210,000 budgetary allocation to maintain its substations. That's 7 substations in the counties. According to LBS Managing Director Ledewi Rennie, the substations that are being used to decentralize information are not captured in this year's budget. The LBS boss said the inability of the substations to operate will violate the fundamental rights of Liberians to be informed about happenings in the country.
These substations, unfortunately, have not been covered in this year's budget, especially for the operations field. So we are asking the legislature to look at that, because if they're not on the air, it means that the rest of Liberia will not be able to hear any information coming from central government to the people of Liberia. It is a fundamental constitutional right for the people of Liberia to have access to public information. And the radio is an important tool. For the entire year, we are talking close to $210,000. those substations burn at least 600 gallons a month when they're running 18 hours. So we are begging the legislature to look at the plight of our correspondents across the country. Policymakers wake up every morning listening to the national radio and hear these correspondents from across Liberia reporting on various things happening in rural Liberia, informing them as to what is happening and how they too can shape public perception and public policies towards addressing those issues. We've been shouldering that responsibility as a management forever. So we think it's about time that these correspondents and reporters are included on our payroll. The setting up of the 368 feet tower that provides, a lot of opportunity for these communications companies across the country who have their assets on LBS tower. That tower, the guards, and the tower itself have not been renovated or refurbished. So all of the guards are corroding now. The tower itself needs to be, reconditioned. The bolts are all getting rusty. It could be a possible death trap, so to speak, if we don't work on it in the next 2 to 3 months. The assessment for the technical people costs us about $40,000 to do the job. We're asking $40,000, not a big money for the government of Liberia. They don't even have to budget, but we're begging. Whether it's the Ministry of Finance, the legislature, we're begging them for that money so that we can be able to start this project so that tomorrow the worst does not happen and then we start to regret.
Some aggrieved members of the disabled community today staged a protest in Monrovia demanding their share of the COVID-19 stimulus package. The group believes that the government has been discriminatory in the sharing of the package. KMTV's Anthony Noah has more.
The group offensively challenged Tuesday morning lined up before the premises of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that host the presidency. In one voice, the group expressed issues relating to constant unfair treatment shown them by the government of Liberia by denying them of their portion of the COVID-19 stimulus package, which was specifically meant to help the underprivileged citizens. The group is appealing to the government of Liberia to currently recognize them in society. Some said the government, meaning the vice president of Liberia, is being selective in caring for the disabled, which led to one of them ringing praises at the past government. According to them, the total number of institutions of visually impaired was presented to the government full distribution committee, but portion of them were served, leaving the rest out.
As I said, they did assessment to our center, and all the questions needed, we provided it to them, and they left their distribution list form with us. That is, if they drive through to the center, there's a form that they usually leave there so that the beneficiary can sign in, and we have that form in our possession. But up to current, we are not been able to receive our portion of, and our members are hungry, as you can see. We brought this morning blind men and women and with their children.
Yeah, for us, because we look just sitting down waiting. And they're looking down to say we are discriminated. So we bear hunger. They talk about that every and sharing food. We haven't seen our own food. We haven't seen our own food. Look there waiting. We cannot see no life. So we demand of president today. So you can know that we too, we are human beings, we are somebody in the society.
Vice President has been catering to one group of people, which is the group of 77. They are not being catering to the entire disabled community because the disabled community is under NUO. We have a mother organization that all DPO honor, and even a group of 77 fund one of the 35 DPO that is on NUO, but the vice president catered to only a group of 77. She do not cater to the entire disabled community.
It may be recalled, members of the same association during the heat of COVID-19 protested over similar situation after refusing a stimulus package given to them by the government. Angelique Noor, KMTV News, Monrovia.
Well, over now to your sporting news. A grassroots vacation football training program for kids will on Saturday be launched in the country. The program is under the auspices of the First Touch Sports Academy, powered by a research group of companies incorporated. The company is owned by a former football athlete who thought it wise to invest into grassroots football. Here is a report. Nosy Kupod may not have reached stardom in Liberian football, but his ambition to invest into grassroots sports, particularly football, could have a huge positive impact on many Liberian kids. The former football athlete plied his true at Millennium Stars Football Club in '98 and ably represented the team as a goalkeeper when they traveled to the UK in '99. After quitting football, the former athlete later decided to further his education with a long-time dream of having a football academy.
It's a dream. It's something that I've thought about for years, coming up and not having the funding. It was an issue, and then I started a makeshift training program on the Tottenham High Field. It's called the Millennium Stars Training Program. And basically that was a charitable one, giving back to the community. And all that time I sponsored it from my pocket, and it's something that I enjoy doing. Working with kids and trying to give them a future in sports as well as education.
Kokoi embarked on the journey of achieving his goals by constructing a standard 7-year mini grassroots football pitch on 11th Street in Cinco. The facility is used for the football training programs and is also used for recreational activities for adults.
My partners and I, we had some discussion years back, and then I told them that I think it would be a good thing to start up a program. And then he said, "Kupo, how you think? You think the public is going to buy it?" I said, "Yeah. It's a good thing. We have to try to invest. The Liberian populace, the people that the sports enthusiasts, they are people that have the kind of interest in sports, but we do not have facility in the country. So I really thought that it was going to be a good thing, and I'm sure it's a good thing. And that idea worked, and today we are here. We have well-trained staff here to take care of this facility, and this is not something that we're going to do here. We intend to take it all part of Liberia. That's our aim. So with this, I think this is going to last for a long time, because the quality of this stuff, it's a top-class quality up to European standard. Yeah, so it's going to last for more than 25 to 30 years. So I can guarantee that this facility is here to stay.
The training program started earlier this year, but was disrupted due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The program seeks to develop kids through football, both on and off the pitch.
Here, we're not going to train only football. We're going to train kids to be disciplined, kids to take their education seriously, and we're going to teach them the basic skills in football. So we got a whole lot to offer.
In addition to the football training programs, the First Touch Sports Academy will also provide in the not-too-distant future trainings in basketball, fitness, swimming, and extra recreational activities for kids between the ages of 5 to 15. I'm Kokoi, KMTV News, Monrovia. Well, with that sporting development, that's how we go home on today's edition of KMTV News Today. But before going, here once again our stories that may be headlines. Sea erosion leaves several homeless in Greenville, Sano County. House of Representatives summons Internal Affairs ministers over allegations of local chief continuous obstruction of security operations. And in sports, a grassroots vacation football training program for kids will on Saturday be launched in the country. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast from across the globe. On behalf of the entire news team here, my name is Kokoi. You have yourself a pleasant good night from Monrovia.